This cake was one of the top 10 genius recipes of 2018, and I don't think you could get more orange into a cake if you tried. So I'm just gonna chop up these oranges like you would get at soccer practice. I guess I'm aiming for wedges like that. This cake seems like a totally normal orange cake, but in this one way, you're taking the whole orange, except for just these nubs and the seeds if there were any, and blending that into a puree, and the puree is gonna go into the cake. It's kind of like marmalade, but not quite as bittersweet as marmalade. It's much fresher, and it's just this super moist, squidgy orange cake that tastes really bright with fresh oranges. All these little shreds of orange are gonna show up in the cake, just be these little like bits of texture. It calls for starting with 2 oranges, but oranges can vary so much in their size, and so we're only gonna use, what is it, a cup and a half of this mixture. So it's still a proper baking recipe. You're not going willy-nilly depending on if your oranges are small or big. You still get a cup and a half out of that. Okay. Okay, so for the rest of this, it's just gonna be like any old cake where you cream butter and sugar together to make them fluffy, and then beat it eggs one at a time, and then add your dry ingredients, but you're gonna sneak in the orange partway through there. And that's gonna take this cake from a very standard cake to a not at all standard genius cake. So this needs to go on for a few minutes. People say you can do it with a wooden spoon. If any of you like to cream with a wooden spoon, please tell me about it in the comments. I would love your tips. And I would love to admire you. Okay, did you guys see how fluffy that got? Everything up to this point has been like very standard cake procedure, but this is going to join the fluffy butter. Dry ingredients all just dump in. There was a very famous orange cake called Orange Kiss Me Cake that won the 1950 Pillsbury Bake Off. But it is different from this. It blends up oranges into the cake, but it also blends up raisins and walnuts, and the proportions are totally different. So this one's juicier. This one is like Orange Julius in a cake. I'm done making cake. I have to just bake this, right? Yep. See ya, cake. This cake ended up in Genius Desserts. You can see the difference between this style of cake with the fresh orange pulp blended in, and it's a fluffy style of cake, compared to this other style of whole orange cake. This one has whole oranges that are boiled in water for 2 hours, and it's gluten-free, and they come out very dense and custardy. So this one, the orange will taste much fresher than the one where it's boiled forever. Look at this beautiful thing. It needed to cool because otherwise the glaze will just melt all into it. So now it's nice and cool, and I'm gonna make the glaze. This is just a bunch of powdered sugar, and here's that other orange that I'm gonna juice, and I will measure it to start, but glaze is all about you. If you want it really thick to hold those drips versus something that's kind of runny and pours right off. Oh, perfect, okay, I'm gonna start with that. All right, it's still seeming really thick. I'm just gonna add a little more. I think that'll be pretty appropriate. This is really the best part, getting to do this playing at the end. Oh, that's pretty good, right? You see that texture, this like fluffy, ooh, officially squidgy, and the little flecks of orange. And this crust is amazing too. It's like really crispy. It will defy going stale on you. With all that extra orange pulp in there, it will stay nice and squidgy for a couple days at least. There's so much orange going on in there. I'm a big fan. So what you should do is go like and subscribe and check back every week for more squidgy, scrummy, delicious, genius recipes like this.